So the journey really unfolds in layers, and it's totally normal for you to have insights from ketamine months later, years later. There are certain insights that I had in ketamine journeys in 2022 that are now still landing. I'll have a moment. It's called a synchronicity. A synchronicity is a coincidence that only makes sense to you. All right, YouTube friends, Ketamine Connections. I'm Anna Kristal. This is a short clip to remind you that the video you're about to see is not made for YouTube. It is simply a video recording of me recording the Ketamine Connections podcast that you can find on Spotify, you can find on iTunes, you can find on Amazon. Honestly, pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts, Ketamine Connections is there. And we want to get it on YouTube because we have all of this amazing video. Some of you are really enjoying watching me record this. So that is what this video is. It's not designed for YouTube. And I hope you enjoy. And please let me know below in the show notes if you're liking this format, because we want to do the things that you like, the things that help you and really serve you, because this is really for you. Enjoy. So the journey really unfolds in layers, and it's totally normal for you to have insights from ketamine months later, years later. There are certain insights that I had in ketamine journeys in 2022 that are now still landing. I'll have a moment. It's called a synchronicity. A synchronicity is a coincidence that only makes sense to you.
Hey there, and welcome to Ketamine Connections. I'm so excited you're here. Maybe you have heard about the incredible healing power of ketamine on a podcast, in a tweet, or even from your cousin's friend who's tried it. Whether you're thinking about this innovative approach for yourself, a loved one, or just curious to learn more about its transformative potential, you probably have a lot of questions. This show is all about exploring that potential by diving into topics like the subconscious mind, sharing amazing client transformation stories, and answering the most common questions I've received while helping hundreds of clients explore and transform their subconscious minds. Just like any good psychedelic journey, our episodes are designed to open your mind, spark your curiosity, and expand your understanding of what's possible. I'm your host, Anna Kristal, aka your ketamine coach, and I'm thrilled to dive in and get curious with you. Let's get started.
Ketamine Connections, welcome back. I am your host, Anna Kristal. Always excited that you're here. Let's get into today's topic. We have so many episodes about what to do before ketamine. As you know, I am so passionate about preparation for ketamine. It is your first impression. It is the number one rule of psychedelic use, set and setting. It is the way that you set yourself up for success is through proper preparation. So we have a lot of episodes about that. And we also have the ketamine preparation protocol, which is the guide that I developed that you'll always find in the show notes if you want more instruction, more help, more resources on how to prepare for ketamine. And with that said, one of the most popular episodes of the show is the hours after ketamine. That shows me that there's a need out there for people to know what to do the day of ketamine after the session. And that makes sense, right? Right after ketamine, you have an uptick in neuroplasticity. Your brain is so malleable. You're kind of thinking, what do I do with all of this? And there is not good information out there. So I'm so excited that that episode from earlier this year is one of the top episodes on YouTube, on the show. Amazing. I love that. And today, I want to give a little bit more about that. This episode was inspired by a suggestion that I had to offer guides inside the ketamine preparation protocol. So now, as of this week, this week is not the week that you're hearing this. So as of a few weeks ago, there are guides inside of the ketamine preparation protocol that are basically checklists, right? Before ketamine, during ketamine, after ketamine. They're meant to be these quick guides that you can pull up and go, okay, here's my checklist of what to do before, during, and after. And as I was making these guides, I realized that there is really important information, pretty much universal for any sort of transformational experience. So that is with psychedelic journeys, that is with transformational retreats, that is with any epiphany or anything that you have. There is a protocol. And a lot of you listening to the show, a lot of people coming to ketamine probably don't know this protocol. And so the thing I want to get into today are the top 3 things to avoid right after ketamine. And I want to be really clear. It's not that you don't ever do this. You'll hear what I mean in a moment when I get into it. It's that these 3 things to not do are ways to slow you down, to slow down the process of ketamine, of change, of transformation, and of integration. I'll give you a quick story and then I'll dive into the top 3 things to avoid right after ketamine. In 2018, that is when I had my own transformational experience with psychedelics. And I knew that same day that we finished, it was a 3-day ceremony. That third day, I knew my life was going to change. I knew I was going to leave my job. I knew that I was going to go full in on my business. I knew that I was going to take a big risk. And I did not actually make those changes for about 5 or 6 months later. So there was about a 3 month period where I went inward and I really sat with myself. Do I really want to abandon my 10-year career in a field that I love? Do I really want to shake everything up? Am I even capable of living without alcohol and all of the temptations of all the different numbing sources that I had at the time? I took plenty of time, way more time than I even recommend, if I'm being honest, to let the insights, let the epiphanies land before I moved forward and in the direction of that new life that I'm living a different version of right now. The truth is, my life is always changing. I'm always becoming a different version of myself. But back then, that was a big leap. And I wanted to make sure that it was coming from a grounded place. And that leads me to the first big temptation, big please don't do this immediately after ketamine is make big life decisions. I have had clients come out of ketamine saying, okay, I need a divorce. Okay, I need to leave my job. Okay, I need to move across the country. Did those clients actually follow through on those things? Yes, they did. Did we also work together to take the time to do it in a grounded, sort of even way? Yes, we also did. The thing that I want to say is that big move that you might want to make will still be there a couple weeks later, 3 weeks later. Often these big epiphanies come early on in your sessions, right? You're probably going through a protocol of 3 or 6. I hope you're going through a protocol of multiple ketamine sessions, minimum 3, definitely 6. And for a lot of us that have high thresholds and big things to work through, 10 or more. And that we discussed that in other episodes. So you get this big download. And I talk about this a lot that when you're in the ketamine, when you're doing the sessions, you are collecting puzzle pieces. You just dump the puzzle box out and you're sorting where things are. After the ketamine is done, after you're done with your protocol, that's when you sit down and you start to put things in order. So that big epiphany about divorce, career change, moving, totally fine if that is still what you want to do on the other side, 3, 4, maybe 6 weeks later. Great. Then you know that you're making it from a grounded, intentional place rather from an impulsive place. So I want to make sure that you're not making any big life decisions immediately after ketamine. And I will give you another really great reason why, other than on the other side of it, you know that, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to take this leap of faith. I believe in myself. I believe in my journey. I'm going to move forward. The other benefit of waiting to make that big change is that you might get more insight than you currently have. Think about watching the trailer of a movie. Oftentimes, we think we know the whole movie from the trailer. And for sure, there's movies that do give it all away. Yet there are other pieces and scenes and excerpts from the movie that we get when we really play it through. And so by letting that land, by taking it in and letting it be a puzzle piece and receiving it with curiosity, you're keeping the door open for more to come in. And that is a really beautiful place to be, to gather even more puzzle pieces to make a more elaborate, more picturesque puzzle that you'll assemble after you go through the ketamine. The second thing that I want you to avoid immediately after ketamine is turning into a psychedelic evangelist. It is so common for us to come out of psychedelics and think, oh, if only my father could try this, if only my partner can try this, if only my friend could try this, right? If only whatever fill in government official could try this, wow, the world would be such a different place. You're 100% right. If people were doing the work to gain insight into themselves, to gain insight into their journey, to self reflect, and to be on this path of change, the world would be a different place. And people come to this work when they are ready. And the truth is, not everyone is ready to hear it. And I don't know if you've ever had this experience of sharing something that you're super passionate about, maybe, I don't know, a restaurant, a movie, something. And then the other person goes, meh, oh, whatever. And that can be soul crushing. I've definitely had my soul crushed by sharing something that I'm passionate about with someone and them kind of replying lacklusterly. Don't do that to your experience. You're expanding your perspective. You are changing your mind. You are transforming right before your very eyes. And it is so amazing and heartfelt and altruistic of you to want to inspire others. And let me tell you the best way to inspire others to do the work and to try ketamine. And that is by having your own transformation on the other side of ketamine a few weeks later, a few months later, wow, even a year later, when you have transformed your life, when you are unrecognizable because the ketamine helped you do the things that make change possible in your life. You are transformed in your eating habits. You are transformed in your career. Maybe you've moved to a new city across the country and you're happier than you ever been. When your life is an inspiration and people start coming to you going, what did you do? Oh my gosh, I want what you're having. Then you can offer and say, hey, ketamine really helped me get over this hump. Ketamine was the line in the sand of me thinking about change, dreaming about change, wondering about change, and about me actually making change. So let your results be the inspiration rather than your experience, which is also, by the way, a great way to integrate as well. And the third and final piece that I want to offer to avoid after ketamine is thinking that you're going to have this transformation forever. Now, the way that transformation works is in layers, or I like to give the analogy of climbing a mountain. You're climbing for a certain amount of time, you get to an outlook, you pause, you eat some trail mix, you take some photos, maybe you take a nap, and then you keep going. And we just talked about this actually in another episode that we'll link in the show notes. What if the ketamine stops working? And what we talk about in that episode is that the ketamine will take you so far and you'll get transformation if you work it, right? It works if you do. And there will always be more work to be done. That's why I advocate taking your time. It's why I advocate having fun in the process. It's why I advocate really staying curious so that the process unfolds for you. This ketamine transformation journey is going to happen in layers. Healing happens in layers. It happens in different things. An analogy that I often use is if you have ever cooked something in the oven and now you have to soak the pan and then you have to scrub it and then you have to soak it again and then you have to scrub it again. Some of the issues, some of the core wounds, some of the patterning that you might be working through, you just keep scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing. And then one day it just releases and you think, whoa, that was a miracle, because we tend to forget how long we've been scrubbing. And so to really keep you from thinking, okay, I'm going to do ketamine and then everything's going to be great. It will be great if you make it great because life is what you make it. And again, it works if you do. And you'll integrate into that new vibration. You'll integrate into that transformation. And then it is our human nature to want more. So you will get up out of your seat and you'll go, okay, what's the next step? So the journey really unfolds in layers, and it's totally normal for you to have insights from ketamine months later, years later. There are certain insights that I had in ketamine journeys in 2022 that are now still landing. I'll have a moment. It's called a synchronicity. A synchronicity is a coincidence that only makes sense to you. The thing that, oh, I'm going to spend 20 minutes explaining this to my friend and they're still not going to get how important it is. It's when you see a photo of someone that you know on the TV, or you see an angel number or a number that really resonates with you on a bill, or you see a flower that you love posted into a location that you walk into. It's these little hints of coincidences that tell you that you're on the right path. I have those from ketamine journeys, again, from years ago. So this process is ongoing. And how cool is that, that you get to keep transforming until you die, really. As long as there's breath, there is work to be done. That is the truth. Those are the three things to avoid that I have for you today. To sum it up, the first thing to avoid is executing big life decisions immediately. The second thing to avoid is turning into a psychedelic evangelist. And the third thing to avoid is thinking that you're going to just be transformed forever with one round of whatever it is that you've done. Again, whether it's 3, 6, however many sessions. I know you're excited for your life to change. I'm so excited for your life to change also. And what all of these steps are really designed to do is to encourage you to stay curious and slow down, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of magic available to you when you approach life with an attitude of collecting pieces rather than knowing the answer, right? There is a maturity and honestly a sexiness that comes with kind of sitting back and letting things come to you rather than chasing, assuming, and forcing. So that is what this episode is about. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear from you. Join me inside the Ketamine Starter portal where we have all of these free resources for you. And we're going to start doing live calls in there. So I would love to connect with more of you. That is something that is really missing for me, is having real conversations with you guys. So please stay tuned. Get inside the Ketamine Starter portal so that you're on the email list, so that you know when we're having just free kind of chats on Zoom. And I would love to see you there. Bye. Hey, friends. Thank you so much for joining me today on Ketamine Connections. I hope that this episode inspired you. I hope that it uplifted you. And I hope it just expanded your mind in some way with some perspective shift. We have been running this show for over a year now, which is incredible. And after more than 50 episodes, we have so many different resources to offer you. And we took all of those resources, we put it into one place called the Ketamine Starter Portal. Check that out in the show notes. Everything you need is there. All of our guides, anything that we've talked about on the show is in that portal. And it's also the best way to get in contact with me, since we are not allowed to talk about psychedelics on social media. Being on the email list is the best way to get updates, to get all of the information that you need, and to stay in touch. So I really hope to see you in there.